Today's lesson is lesson 54, which is dividing by multiples of 10. Dividing by multiples of 10. Now, this is taking a step higher from what we've been doing with just division. This is making it 2-digit in the divisor. But we're going to look at some little tips that are going to make it easier for you to do a problem like that. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge. We're going to go kind of slow through this, and we'll get a lot of practice in class. But just realize it's all about thinking smart, not thinking hard. So this is a perfect example of that as we work on dividing by multiples of 10. All right, when we are dividing by multiples of 10, you need to remember that our divisor is always going to end in a 0 because it's a multiple of 10. So that would be like me saying 30 goes into 74. Now, 30 is a multiple of 10. I can kind of tell because right here in my ones place is a 0. So when I say 30 goes into 74, I'm going to look and say 30 times what is going to give me close to 74? Well, 30 times 1 is 30. 30 times 2 is 60. That's pretty close. If I went 30 times 3, I'd be at 90. Too big. So let's go ahead and go with the 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract, and I have 14 30ths as my remainder. So you have just divided by a multiple of 10. Again, it's not going to be too difficult, just you're going to have to see the numbers as bigger. That's the only change from our 1-digit division that we've been doing. Let's do a couple more just to practice. Okay, here we go. Let's try this one. Tamron bought 20 bread rolls for $4.60. How much did each roll cost? Well, they were $4.60 for the whole bag of them. There were 20 in the bag. So I'm going to right away bring up my dollar sign and raise up my decimal. Now, I can ask myself, does 20 go into 4? Because this is money, I'm allowed to put the 0 up. Otherwise, don't put the leading 0. Leading zeros are bad unless you have the dollar sign. Now, if I say 20 goes into 46 approximately how many times? Look, here's a little way I can look at it. 2 goes into the 4 approximately how many times? Well, 2 times 2 is 4, so 2 times 20 would be 40. That looking at the first numbers kind of is just a little hint to make sure I'm on the right track. 6 minus 0 is 6. 6 is less than 20, so I bring down my 0. Now I'm going to be asking myself, 20 goes into 60 approximately how many times? But I want you to notice, again, I can say 2 goes into 6 approximately how many times? Well, 2 goes into 6 3 times, so 20 would go into 60 3 times as well. So 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 2 is 6. And I've got 0 left over, so I know I'm right, that there's no remainder. When there's money, the book won't have anything with a remainder. So each roll costs 23 cents. Now, did you pick up on how we can use the first number as our clue to help us know what to put. Now, if you can see that, great. If you're having a hard time seeing how we did that, don't worry, just do it the long way. That's not a problem at all. So, understand when you are dividing by multiples of 10 that you have to see the whole number. But if you look at the first numbers, just like we did here, and here, and here, it can make the steps just a little bit easier. So remember, keep everything lined up. And if you can use that first number as a helper, by all means, go ahead and do it. Let's try one more and then we'll wrap it up for today. All right, let's try 454 divided by 30. Well, here's a good example where I can't put my 0 because it's a leading 0, so I'm going to put my little x. 30 can't go into 4. Can 30 go into 45? Well, definitely. Again, I can look and say, well, how many times can the 3 go into the 4? One time. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract it out, and I have 15. Is 15 less than 30? It certainly is, so I bring down my 4. Now I'm going to ask myself, how many times can 30 go into 154? Or I'm going to say, how many times can the 3 not go into the 1, but how many times can the 3 go into the 15? Do you see how this made it just a little bit easier? Again, I don't care if you know the right answer. I want you to be able to see how to do it. So I can say 3 goes into 15 5 times. Well, then 30 goes into 154 approximately 5 times. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 3 is 15. And subtract it out, and I end up with 4. Now you can always check yourself by saying 30 times 15. So this number times this number, your divisor by your quotient. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 0, permission to go to the tens place. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. And add them together, and I get 0, 5, 4. Oh no! What is the problem? Aha! I forgot to put my remainder up here as 4/30ths. So then if I go down here and say plus 4, that was my remainder, I get 454. So multiplication, remember, is the opposite of division, is how you can check it. So let's wrap up by saying, be careful to line everything up and be extra careful that if you pay attention, you can use the first number to help you know what you're going to be dividing into and make it just a little bit easier. So be careful, line things up, and you should not have a problem at all with this lesson. Have a wonderful night, and we'll get some more practice together in class tomorrow. Have a great night.